Okay.
Thanks, Rumble. We're only 5 minutes late.
You know what, though? We are on Rumble, and we are growing on Rumble. Rumble still says waiting for an encoding server to claim video, so... Alright, guys, well, we're here. I'm about to run the intro. If Rumble doesn't catch up, then we'll repost there. I'm about to run the intro. But we'll see how that works out. Damn it, I hit the wrong button. That's the...
Good morning.
Buttons.
Good morning.
I got a shitload of buttons.
Right.
So, if anybody's watching on Rumble, do me a favor and leave a comment. I'm not sure if we are actually running on Rumble yet. Never mind. We appear to be live on Rumble. Good. Okay. So, how you doing this morning?
Well, I'm doing better than Eastern Ukraine.
Yeah. So, the thumbnail, the topic, all mentions Canada, and it's the funny Tuesday. It's the Tuesday, but
this is the ultimate day to eat tacos and you should have tacos in pairs because it is Taco Tuesday.
I have yes, I tend to have my tacos in multiple pairs.
That's not necessarily something to brag about. It's not.
I like tacos.
I mean, I like tacos too, but so does, what's his name? Fluffy? God, I'm like...
Iglesias?
Iglesias, yes. So, you could lose weight. Yeah, I could, but I like tacos.
but I like tacos. I do like tacos. In fact,
You're not quite...
I might take my kids for... I might take the kids out for Taco Tuesday tonight if I get home early enough.
Apparently the Mexican joint right around the corner does the Taco Tuesday thing.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah, $1 tacos.
I did not know this.
And I heard them.
Like I said, I did not know. I wish I did know. Okay.
Of course, we went for Taco Tuesday. Wow, we are...
It's Taco Tuesday.
Screw it. We taco about whatever the hell we want to taco about.
That's right, on Taco Tuesday.
Taco.
Right.
And there's nothing positive to report about the border situation, so... Brah.
So, yeah. Hey,
Yeah. And there's Alex. So...
In Mother Russia, Taco Tuesday you.
Yeah, I want to point out, we talked a little bit about how early on, in a couple weeks ago, in the beginning of the trucker convoy, the state almost immediately started talking about sending the police, and then the police said, no, we can't handle this because the protesters might have guns. You need to send the military. And that right there was everything you will ever need to know about the Second Amendment. As soon as the government said, we don't want you to have free speech. And the police said, whoa, whoa, they get to have their free speech because they might have the right to keep and bear arms. As soon as we heard that conversation occur, there should never, ever exist a question in anyone's mind that anytime you hear somebody say, common sense gun control, their objective is Australian-style concentration camps and Canadian-style asset forfeiture. And I want to go into that in a little more detail at a later time. Today, I want to talk about how it's all related a little bit. So we've got tensions rising between Ukraine and Russia. Yeah,
that's one way to put it.
I know.
He's just straight up annexed 2 territories.
And we've got the stuff going on in Canada with the convoy protests. Steve says we get the government we deserve. That's only true in a representative government like a democracy or a constitutional republic. Because, nope, you're right.
Look.
If you've got a total dictatorship, it's your fault because you didn't stop it. Even if keeping and bearing arms is a criminal activity in the country that you occupy, if you have a criminal, tyrannical, dictatorial government on your hands, it is your moral obligation to destroy it.
Well, that's tough, man. That's in this country, it would be difficult to maintain that kind of power. Because if even 2% of the gun owners decided to go ham, that's a hell of a resistance, okay? But you take a country like Australia, good luck, do whatever you want in Australia because you reach a certain point and there's just not much they can do.
Right.
So, and then as far as the government you deserve, is it the government you deserve if you have the safest and most secure and awesomest election in history?
Oh, yeah, totally. Because it's what you voted for.
I mean, that's the point, though.
And in all seriousness, you know people who voted for this.
Yes. I don't think I know 80 million people that voted for this, though.
Certainly not 84. But what do I know? That's census data. We're not allowed to talk about things like that.
Yes, we are. The 2020 election was awesome. 2016 was bullshit. 2018 was bullshit. 2020, perfect. 2022 is gonna be bullshit. I already know.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, the Russians are going to interfere and steal the election for the Republicans in 2022.
I mean, just like they're totally stealing the western part of Ukraine. And look, we talked about this off air the other day, briefly, and I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but this is important. I'm still not real sure I've made up my mind on what's actually going on in Ukraine. It still doesn't.
Right.
It still doesn't smell right.
It doesn't jive. So the demands, as we've been told, the reason that Putin is amassing and preparing to invade Ukraine is because he doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO. Nobody else wants Ukraine to join NATO, including Ukraine. Ukraine is going to keep threatening to join NATO so that it can kind of play both sides against the middle. Because as long as Ukraine might join NATO, then the rest of the West has an interest in protecting Ukraine's sovereignty in theory.
Well, they don't need to join NATO.
As soon as they do, they've taken that bargaining chip away. Right? Ukraine is basically managing the world's largest Mexican standoff.
Man, speaking of, it's funny that you refer to it as Mexico because
Taco Tuesday.
No.
Guaco Tuesday?
No. Because I would say that what's going on with Russia and Ukraine is actually almost a one-to-one analog with the relationship we have with Mexico. We know there are parts of Mexico that are corrupt as shit.
Yes,
and
it's
some
called
parts
Mexico.
we know some parts of Mexico are worse than others, okay? We know this, right? Well, we also know Ukraine is corrupt as shit. We also happen to know that some parts of Ukraine are worse than others. And they happen to kind of have the first family in their pocket, which is, I'm sure, doesn't bother Putin at all.
Right.
Not even a little bit. Okay? And then, here's the other thing, too. Apparently, there's a separatist movement in parts of Ukraine. And, of course, the media says that it's astroturfed. And this is where it really breaks down for me, okay? I could totally see some commie bastards spending days, weeks, months, years setting up, front-loading a situation to where they can claim through propaganda that there was a separatist movement. I could also see people in that region of the world going, golly, Ukraine is so effing dirty. I'd rather just go back to Russia. At least you knew what you were going to get with them, right? And there's a whole cultural thing over there where some of the Ukrainians apparently still identify as Russians. And I just don't know how much of it is legit, how much of it is astroturf. I know the news media is telling me that the whole thing is a pig and a poke. And after spending years and years and years and years telling me that Russia's the bad guy, Russia's the bad guy, Russia's the bad guy, it's like the little boy who cried wolf. Russia might actually be the bad guy. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I've heard this song and dance before, so now I'm not ready to believe it. And that's sort of where Chris and I are stuck on this. Well, all we know is that something doesn't smell right, but can't quite put our finger on what.
So yeah, and they're already mentioned it in here, and you mentioned it earlier before the show as we were getting ready to go. And before I actually say it out loud, I want to ask, what would be the one thing that an American president could do that could make you suspicious that he was somehow engaged in a positive relationship, one might say collusion, with Vladimir Putin of Russia? And that might just be to, in the midst of Russia threatening to invade the Ukraine against the stated wishes of the United States, Biden would step in and issue sanctions on, no, not Russia, the Ukraine. Let's not forget. Okay, so we're in the middle of this.
On the separatist regions in Ukraine.
We're way off the topic that I had planned for today. But just a few weeks ago, while the Democrats were screaming that the filibuster is racist, at the same time, they used the filibuster to shut down sanctions on Russia. And now Biden comes in to put sanctions on Ukraine. Now, yes, in all fairness, it's with Ukrainian rebels after Putin backing. But still, he picked it up and put sanctions on Ukraine.
Hey, according to Kamala, these are the best sanctions ever.
I'm sure they are. I bet they're the most secure sanctions ever, too. Super secure. And Alex is right. Sanctions on Russia aren't going to do anything. They're not going to work.
No, it depends. It depends on whether or not look, sanctions is a form of economic warfare. And it's like every other form of warfare. Are you trying to win or not? Because if you're trying to win, and this is something I'm sure you could speak to, like, if we really wanted to solve some problems in the Middle East, we could. We just have to be willing to do a whole lot of ugly stuff. And I want to go back to something that Steve said earlier in the chat, that the Soviet Union was different than modern Russia, different goals, different people. Yes and no. I mean, let's not forget that Putin was kind of trained by the KGB. Like, he's OG. Like, you could...
Putin is the KGB.
That's right. That's right. That's
Putin
right.
is to the KGB as Bill Clinton is to the CIA.
No, I'm sorry. That one doesn't track, because Putin's an actual badass, whereas Bill Clinton just bites women on the face to shut them up after he rapes them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Uh-huh.
No, but here's the thing,
And
though.
that's why her emails don't matter.
No, her emails don't matter because she knows where all the bodies are buried, and she's not afraid to have people get Epsteined to join in those bodies, okay? But look, Putin is an actual badass, right? Putin, like when Biden talks to officers, look, pal, we'll go out behind the woodshed and we'll whoop his ass. You know, Putin never talks that way. And you know why? He doesn't have to.
Right.
He could probably kill you with his thumb, right? I mean, you know, it is what I'm telling you. And Steve, I get it, man. He lives there. Okay, and a lot of the people are different. Once the propaganda curtain fell in the USSR, Russia, all that, and they understood that the whole world wasn't starving to death, it was just them, and it was because of their leadership, okay, a lot of Russian sentiments changed. But it's...
Actually, you just... go ahead, but you just touched on something that's worth, honestly, spending the rest of the show on.
But Putin still is who he is, and he's crafty like a fox. Like, he's the guy that stepped down from power so that somebody else could amend the Constitution so that he could get back into power and then basically be dictator in chief for life. So, are the people different? Yes. But is some of the underlying cultural portions of it still very much the same? Yes. So, yeah. Hey, you know what solves this whole problem, though? And it's awfully suspicious. Energy. Remember when the first thing Biden did was come in and shut down our own pipeline, but it's totally cool for Russia to run theirs?
Yeah. And Sergeant Major just mentioned this on Rumble, and I was not tracking this yet. Apparently, Germany has pulled the plug on the Nord Stream 2. That's a big deal. I'm gonna have to look into that a bit and see. That's gonna be that may be a game changer right there. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, Dad. I wasn't tracking that yet.
That's honestly, I hate being black-pilled, but I'm just gonna say that's a speed bump. I mean, all they got to do is start selling energy to Asia instead of Europe. It's not like there's that whole Chinese market there, and China's going to need oil when they occupy Taiwan. When the Taiwan separatists decide they want to rejoin China.
No, I don't think you're. I think you're underestimating the importance of the pipeline.
I don't doubt that it's important, okay? But China's got like 1 billion people, and it's in an emerging economy, and for the first time in decades, there is an economy that is threatening to overtake the U.S. in total size. Sell them oil. It might take them a while to catch up, but sell them oil. They don't have a problem with pollution like we do. Like, there's a reason why... Like, it was cool to wear masks in China for the Olympics long before the coof ever came around.
Granted, but just because you have demand doesn't mean you have supply to feed it. That's why Germany put in a plug here. I'm going to have to look into it. Like I said, I just figured it out. Or I just learned that it's even happening. And that's right, 35 Zulu on the mission. Hooah, hooah. I remember when we were 98 Zulus.
So now that we've gone...
He does too. He's old as shit.
Right. So now that we've gone all over the place, what does Canada have to do with it?
Well, Canada was going to be the whole show, but we got derailed early on.
Right.
And
because it's Taco Tuesday and the whole thing with Russia and Ukraine, and so look, anybody have a theory about what's actually going on there? The only thing that I know is that the news media is telling me that Russia bad, and I get it. Putin's the KGB, so okay. But at the same time,
at this point, I'm prepared to accept the claim that Vladimir Putin is in fact Jesus Christ, and I'm prepared to accept that claim because U.S. news media continues to tell me that he's an evil, evil, bad guy. And as near as I can tell, the evidence supports the supposition that if it is stated by the U.S. government or its news media, then it is the opposite of what is true. Freest, fairest, safest, most secure election of all time.
Oh, yeah, and it was totally an insurrection that happened on January 6th. You know,
the armed insurrection where nobody had guns? Except for, the black hero cop that saved all those lives by killing the poor little white Air Force chick.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I am so suspicious about passing any kind of judgment. Like, I consider myself to be a high information voter. And I got sucked in, and I got a lot of what happened with January 6th wrong. It was nowhere, like, it was bad, and I still maintain that it was bad, but it was nowhere near as bad as the news media portrayed it. Like, not at all. And so, like, I have no doubt that, like, shit is bad in Ukraine, and it's about to get a whole lot worse. But, like, one of the things we were talking about, they were telling us beforehand, that, oh yeah, Putin's totally going to do a false flag. It's like, I've never heard about a false flag happening future tense before. Yeah. That's a first for me. Okay.
So the CIA is going to generate a maneuver which appears to be Russia generating a maneuver which appears to have been the CIA. It's like double fake.
It's like a fourth wall break inside a fourth wall.
It's like a marble cake full of strawberry frosting.
That actually sounds like that would be delicious.
And surprising. And complex. And it would fall apart in the oven.
Well, yeah.
One hopes.
Because the shortening would all melt, and then your cake would... I guess you could put it like a big glob in the center, though, and as long as you pulled it out right...
You'd have to bake the cake, hollow it out, and then eject the frosting.
Which would also be delicious.
Yes.
Long...
And that's all I've got for today, because I've got to go to, apparently, Fairburn again.
I'm sorry.
It'll be okay. I just restarted one of the Mark Tufo novels. So, zombie apocalypse all the way. So, y'all be safe out there, and we will see you tomorrow.